life, when we come into a certain point of awareness, we are on the journey and trying to figure life out, trying to figure out the secrets of life and what's going on and why are we here. And then eventually on that journey, we realize that life is meant to also be lived, so there's a balance between the study of life and the living of life. And on that in between, or on that journey within that, we go through many different stages of what we call the human experience. And in these stages, I just wanted to go through the different levels, at least from my perspective, on how I see or how we flow in and out of our experience on many different levels. And when I share with you guys, this is not in any way trying to get you to try to put yourself or fit yourself into, or actually I would advise not to try to put yourself in a bubble or a box or in a corner when I go through these categories, because it's not really meant for that. It's more so, yes, you may have a resonance, but we flow through all of these aspects of self. It's a ebbs and flow kind of thing. But of course, during certain parts of your cycle, based upon where you are on your journey, you may be more dominant in one area than another. So again, it changes, and it changes with simple awareness. And one of the reasons why I am sharing what I am going to share with you guys today is because it's really time to wake up, guys. It's time to wake up. It's getting real out here in these streets. It's getting realer and realer. So the most important part of this is awakening to yourself to a point where you are now able to navigate, get out of autopilot mode and start leading yourself and navigating yourself through life, because certain parts of this realm, there are certain attacks on those who are not necessarily aware or awake within themselves, which leaves you very vulnerable if you are in that space of, again, not being aware of certain aspects of self, to where you can actually hold on to yourself. As I like to say, it's holding on to you, to your soul, to your essence, to your spirit, and making sure that it's full-blown harmony, even during trying times. So that's the point of me sharing this. So it's not sharing this to just, cause drama or anything like that, or separation. It's really just one of these wake-up calls, right? So with this, first things first is the temple, your body. Your body is your temple. Most of us know this already. We compare it to our homes, our temples, our minds, our bodies, our souls, our hearts. It's all home. It's temple. It's a house. So if you can think of your body as such, and when I go through these things, or when I explain what I explain here, you can see more so, not necessarily just seeing it as a body, but seeing it as a temple or home will make more sense to what we're going to discuss here. Now, when we think about the hosts or spirits, we have different spirits within us. Automatically within our DNA, we have the spirits of our ancestors within us. So we have many different spirits living inside of us. Okay, people say spirit, but we have spirits within us, and based upon frequency, or based upon your resonance, where you're vibing, where your consciousness is, those are, there will be more so of an awakening with specific spirits within you during certain times within your cycle. So you may resonate with certain ancestors more so than another, or others, I should say. Like if you're more so in a low vibrational state, for the most part, a lot of the recordings from those ancestors who were vibrating on that level would be your contacts, or would be the ones sharing space most of the time with your mind, body, soul paradigm. So it's based upon your frequency. So that's the thing, right? So the spirits are occupying the space within your temple and home. Okay, so it's an automatic, because again, we come fully equipped with all of these recordings within us, especially with our ancestral lines. Now, let's talk about cycles for a moment. So cycles are basically, it's basically opportunities to basically change up the frequency within yourself. Okay, let's just say that, to change up, to switch up the frequencies within. There are certain parts of the cycles where it's easier, and we're in one of those cycles right now where it's easier to switch it up on the inside, right? If you're trying to raise your frequency, or you're trying to like get to a certain space spiritually, right, within, this is a very like valuable and high time to do that. Okay, so we're in one of those cycles, but these are many cycles where sometimes it's a bit easier and sometimes it's harder, based on where we are. So the thing about this is most spirits that are unfortunately that are not unaware, or that are unaware, I should say, the spirits within, because some are sleeping and some are not. Those spirits that are unaware are not covered during these cycles. So it's kind of like just having dormant, active but yet dormant spirits within you that are not necessarily on the levels of consciousness based on where you are. So in doing that, it leaves the spirits within open or vulnerable to possibly losing their homes, or releasing, right, themselves from the temple. So therefore other spirits end up either occupying the space, or these spirits end up being wanderers more so, and lost somehow. So these are for unaware spirits. Those spirits who are aware within you will continuously guide the I am, or take instruction from the I am, I should say, because it's connected with awareness, and will know exactly what to do on the inside to make sure that you are steady within your consciousness during these stormy cycles, during the consciousness switchovers, I should say, because it's an elevation in frequency more so during these times. So that's basically spirits, bodies, 1, 2, right? We get that. Now the ascendants. The ascendants are a bit different. Now, ascendants are basically those who've learned the ways of the system and who have set alarms for themselves. So a lot of us have been like in ascendant mode, where you get that alarm, you start seeing that number over and over and over again, and you're like, wait a minute, what does this mean? And then you start questioning your reality. Ascendant energy is, again, energies that have already set alarms for themselves at certain times. So you set alarms for yourselves to wake up at a certain time, when it's time during these cycles to elevate within your frequency, within your consciousness. But this is not a guaranteed success as a result. The ascendant, although being more experienced, a more experienced spirit, can still get lost in the system if they aren't developed or evolved within the proper timeline. So ascendants are more so responsive to the timeline of the cycles. Ascendant energy is more so, again, that alarm clock awakening, beep, 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 wake up, wake up, wake up. But it's still not at a certain point. If this ascendant energy is knocked off of balance or out of the path, and is not necessarily operating within the proper timeline for the true graduation in consciousness, then there's an opportunity that spirit kind of gets lost in the sauce, or in the source, and eventually finds themselves again, so there's always opportunities. It's just when we're talking about the sequence of time and cycles, then there's that. Then we have the ascendant masters, and I wrote under here is the rule, right, for the ascendant master is unless you allow it, nothing or no one can harm you. That is something that Ascendant masters absolutely go by. Nothing can harm me unless I absolutely allow it. Period, point blank. So there's this essence of having no fear when you are more so in the Ascendant Master category. So the Ascendant Master is the Ascendants that I spoke about before, the alarm clock awakening, beep, beep, beep. The Ascendants who have successfully retrieved all keys necessary to unlock all hidden doors or inner hidden doors, reaching their gates to heaven, right? Their Kundalini awakening and so on, reaching their own gates of heaven and getting through. Those who have made it through those gates are sovereign and can navigate through the various matrices while being untouched by lower level entities. They are members of high councils and the creators and teachers and guides, or what you even call angels, to human evolution or the human evolution process. They have reached this merit authentically by their own natural merit, skill set, and ability. So when we're talking about Ascendant Master level, we're talking about authentic skill set and ability and reaching that point of self and unlocking all of those doors within yourself through, again, an authentic journey and eventually transcending, so that you are able to just go through all of self with no issues, no problems, and that brings you to that mastery level. So once you've reached that mastery level or that Ascendant Master level within yourself, whether you even want to call it Christ consciousness as well, this is when you are able to come into the lower level matrices and literally you are covered in a different kind of frequency, to the point where nothing can really invade your space, but you have a lot of influence within the space that you're in. So that would be Ascendant Master level. Next, we have the Elite. Now, the Elite is a whole different thing. So Elite is basically another pocket of the high order that holds a space for those who most likely abuse the Earth system matrix, who are grant special entry and privilege to spirits who want in with a price. Basically, spirits or beings who basically sell their souls, right? It's a spiritual debt system. Some may call it the Illuminati order, or so on and so forth. They have similar access and power to the Ascendant Masters, however, are not allowed access to certain sacred portals that lead to other worlds and experiences. So the Elites and the Ascendant Masters, they don't really mix with each other. They don't really mix with each other, but they can coexist. And again, the quote-unquote elites are more so into controlling the lower level matrices and not really empowering those spaces. So that's the difference. And again, there's an order to get into these elite statuses, not like the true Ascendant Master who've reached the heights and the depths of themselves authentically, but you can kind of get in based upon association or selling of the soul in many ways and so on. So that would be that pocketed system that is not, it's not Ascendant Master level, but they're a high enough level to have certain access to certain realms and so on, but not much, because they're more so focused on controlling the lower level matrices. So then we have the mixed hybrid, right? The mixed hybrid. And these are known to be anomalies in bloodlines where elites have possibly mixed with Ascendant Master bloodline, creating a newer breed. And this is kind of, these are what you would call the unpredictable spirits who have dual access to all realms that both sides are restricted from. Okay, so when you create like a hybridized aspect of like two parts at least that come together, right? We know how hybridization works. There's this unpredictability that comes in with these types. And of course, again, I'm speaking very lightly here and very general. We are all mixed up in all kinds of ways. I'm talking about more so on a dominant, like from what's that dominant frequency that we're working with? The dominant activated frequencies within us is what I'm saying. So again, that's why I said don't try to put yourself in any one of these boxes, because there are parts of you and even some of your ancestors that have dealt with all of these parts that I am going through, and again, going through human experience more so. Then we have the in-betweens, I would call these the wannabes as well. The in-betweens, those who serve the middle due to not having access to the ascended master realms or the elite. So they're not really elite and they're not really ascended master, but they often work for one or the other. Okay, they're basically the workers. Some would call them agents, or some would even call them light workers, depending on who they're working for. So when I say the in-betweens or the wannabes, I'm not saying it in a derogatory sense. No, they want to be quite literally who they're and what they're working for. That's the aspiration. So that's what I mean when I say that. So they're basically in between and in the middle, and these would be agents for the elite or light workers for the ascended masters. Okay, so the in-betweens. Then we have the humans. After all of that, right? We have humans. What the hell is a human? The real world, all right? So the real world, REEL world. Now, this is human. The experience of life growing into consciousness. The human body is a vessel that carries several spirits that make up one soul, as we talked about earlier. These spirits have to figure out ways to get along once fully developed. Havoc can lead to the human becoming disharmonic and stuck in the realm where every cycle the storm comes and feeds off of this disharmonic soul. Those human remain vacant until the wanderers fill the vessels, creating an entirely new human. So these would be new spirits residing inside of the vessel, and now they have to figure out how to ascend together. Will they make it? Sounds like a freaking reality show, right? Will they make it? We have new residents in the temple, new residents in the home, new residents in the body, meaning that, yeah, there will be times where, again, if you are not aware and you're not able to hold on to yourself, that there are times during cycles where spirits, they invade spaces and they're looking for homes. And I'm going to get to the wanderers in a moment, but there are wandering spirits, or some even just being thought forms that wander about, literally trying to possess or get into a temple for a space to dwell within, to animate. Okay, so this is a real thing. So if you're trying to hold on to the aspects of self that you have worked with and that you are familiar with, especially through your ancestral lines and so on, then you have that opportunity to, again, keep that order within and not allowing that space to be invaded by wandering spirits or thought forms. So that's the human experience. Again, and it's the experience of life growing into consciousness. I'll say that one more time. This is what humans are from my perspective. The experience of life growing into consciousness. Okay, so coming more so from primal and instinctual, going into those higher levels of consciousness. That's human experience. That's it, right? Not that complicated. Now, we have a lot of people talking about this aspect of the experience, what I would call new programs and what some would call NPCs. Okay, so NPCs or new programs running on a default grid algorithmic system. Okay, these beings are fairly new to the human experience and are starting at ground zero. These are AI that hold no past experience firsthand. New humans, baby spirits ready to develop over the course of time and cycles, all more so artificially generated, younger than real world humans, right? Can be used as temporary vessels for higher and lower or more advanced entities. So kind of like a temporary thing, you know, just a temporary home, right, to visit if necessary. So I wrote this down. This was me putting things in perspective, but I wrote down, at least from my particular tapping into all of this, is it is against cosmic law to reside inside of an NPC for like an actual entity to do so. Using an NPC is like booking a short stay at a hotel or Airbnb. This is a rule due to their need to evolve to real human level. Okay, so when we're talking about new programs, we are just talking about just, again, new and with no past experience, and this would be artificially generated. So there is a difference between artificially generated versus organically evolved. And the thing about this consciousness is that there are cycles that allow this consciousness to evolve. So this is why I said there's no prejudice against any of this, because there is a time way back, no matter how old you think you are internally and spiritually, because at the end of the day, we're all connected to everything. Therefore, we are as old and as young as everything. So just knowing that just takes away the prejudice from all of this. It's just from a different perspective based on cycles, sequencing of time, and just, again, going through and flowing through the different levels of human experience. Then we have the wanderers, the fragmented spirits. These are fragmented spirits who have no home, no body, and are unseen or invisible to the naked eye. This spirit can feel lost or in limbo, and they usually thrive in environments that offer easy access. A lot of these environments being even like bars, a place where there's like a lot of alcohol. They call it spirits for a reason, you know. So these limbo wanderers hang around places like this a lot. The wanderer in the astral world, or they wander in the astral and they live in that space trying to catch rides to earth via dream state. Some are harmless, some are harmful. It is advised to envision yourself locking your doors before going to sleep, if necessary, if this is what you feel you need to do. Ascended masters have automatic Merkaba shields that cannot be accessed by wanderers. Okay, so this is on your way to getting it all together for self before you go to bed. Again, you would treat your mind space and your body just as you would treat your home externally. You don't necessarily leave your doors open when you go to sleep at night in your house, depending on where you live, but I'm sure you're locking those doors. Same thing you do. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn out process. It can just literally just be a visualization and an affirmation to self before going to sleep, before you go off into the other la land and you're interacting with spirits who actually are, again, trying to find a home. And then lastly, we have the ancient ones. So we have the ancient ones. Now, the ancient ones are the large, primordial, inexhaustible nature spirits or elementals that can animate any living being with purpose for rebalancing and keeping the earth, okay, or nature itself. So these ancient ones are primordial spirits that are, they animate, again, they come in with a very specific purpose, most of the time being for rebalancing. And they resonate with certain beings based upon DNA activations and so on. So I just went through a list of just the different experiences of, from what I see being the human experience overall, and the different levels that we all can just, explore. Some of you may feel like you're like a part of the Ascendents crew, where you're waking up and you're finding your space. Some of you are on that Ascendant master level, and you've completely unlocked all of the doors within, and you are now within the reality, here to help empower and enlighten. Some of y'all done sold y'all souls and trying to, get all up in the that space, and some of y'all are just agents, and listen, all of it, right? But I say this all to say that the point of me sharing this again is, this is a part of my purpose in assisting with the wake-up call. Okay, know how it all works in a way to where it makes sense to you to say, hey, maybe there's something, maybe there's a buzzword that can get me going to realize, oh, I need to wake up a bit more within this, within what we call reality, and know that there's more to it. There's more to it that I may not be aware of. So in this awareness, I can now see the different stages that I may be personally going through, or maybe personally gravitating towards. So now I can pay more attention to it. Therefore, I am able to wake up more and more and more. And the more of us that continues to wake up, because there are different levels of waking up, then the better, because there's again a lot going on in the atmosphere that we are all aware of, and some may not be aware of. And it's more so of you taking accountability and responsibility for making sure that you're good, right? Making sure that your personal space is good, making sure that your family is good, making sure it trickles out into community, but it starts with you. So this is just a bit of a guide, just to help, if this resonates with you, just to help with just, again, gauging out to see where you fit in many of these categories possibly, and hopefully using it as a guide. So anyway, just wanted to share this. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.
Responding more to finding ways of how to
Fully developed.